Morning, everybody. It's just gone 11. We're just waiting for another couple of people, so if you can bear with us for a minute or two, and then we'll crack on. I hope everyone's keeping safe and well in these very weird times in which we're living at the moment. We decided not to use camera this morning because unfortunately both myself and Arun are suffering from lockdown hairstyles, and we didn't really think it was fair to share those with the world, shall we say. So we'll just do it from behind slides. But so thanks for joining us this morning. Hopefully the next half hour or so will be informative and give you some background on where Hyperion's going and what the options are that you've got. So I'm Kelvin Worley, and along with Arun Sankara, what we wanted to do was just share with you our thoughts regarding, the Hyperion roadmap, the options available to you, and with the impending de-support of Hyperion 11.1.2 in December this year. And that's really going to be covering the options of staying on Hyperion, going up to the next version, or looking at moving to cloud. So if you can just flick to the next slide, if you would, Arun. So a very short introduction, really, and then it is very much talking about what the roadmap is for Hyperion now, the available options, the pros and cons of some of those options, and what we'll do is outline at the end another session that we're organising, which goes into a bit more detail and has a presentation along with it. So we looked at today and decided that probably everybody is video conferenced out and everyone's looking at screens all day. So we wanted to keep it relatively short and snappy, hopefully get over the right level of information. And obviously we're more than happy to then pick things up in more detail at a later date or even at the end of the session. But I'd say very conscious that we're all living in a world where we're just staring at screens all day. For those of you who aren't aware of Evosys, we're an Oracle Platinum partner, totally dedicated to Oracle, and we've got more than now 1,000 cloud customers globally, and a number of those are running either Hyperion or EPM Cloud. And Arun, who's going to do most of the talking today, is one of a team of approximately 100 Hyperion EPM consultants, and Arun's worked with numerous customers both here in the UK and globally. Here in the UK, London Borough Lambeth, Merseyside Police, and M Group Services, three recent projects that Arun's been working on. So obviously having Arun here to go through it at the level of detail that obviously is going to be important to you, and having that expertise. So as we're going through, if you have any questions, please pop them into the chat or in the question section, and what we'll do is we'll pick those up at the end. Likewise, if you're happy to share where you are on your journey at the moment with Hyperion and what decisions you've got to make, if you want to pop those into chat, that would be great, and then obviously we can look at those and be very specific on your requirements. So I say that's all I've got to say for the time being on the intro, because for me it's very keen to let Arun come in and start talking about the subject matter. So Arun, I'm going to pass over to you at this stage.
Great. Thank you, Kelvin. So yeah, good morning and good afternoon, as well as good evening from various parts of the world from where you've joined us. As Kelvin mentioned, our focus for this webinar is to explain you what options you have, what each of the option means for you, and what one might work best for you, which we'll give you enough information on to decide. With that said, I would like to start with explaining what the support roadmap is with respect to Hyperion. So if you're a Hyperion user right now, or if you have a Hyperion application in your organizations, you might be on 11.1.2 or any of the versions of that series. And as you know, or as you might come to know right now, that Oracle is going to stop support for that versions from December 21 onwards. Now, when I say Oracle is going to stop their support, what that means is that those versions will no longer be supported, which means that you would have to take a decision of either moving to the latest versions, or you can also consider moving to cloud. With respect to the product features, what's happening is that 11.1.2 and any versions of that series, the next logical upgrade for that version is 11.2. Now, in terms of 11.2, Oracle has introduced a lot of new features in the application. So if you're a Hyperion planning user, you will now have extended attribute supports. You'll also have the features of Smart Push, which was limited to cloud before, and also valid intersections. So anywhere where you feel you would need these features to limit the usage of combinations and stuff, you can definitely look forward to the latest release, which is 11.2. Similarly, on other applications, there are good amounts of upgrades that Oracle has offered in the new release of the application. We've listed them down over here. I don't intend to go through each of them. However, on a high level, HFM has now got native metadata, as well as enhanced insights, as well as archiving, which has been one of the most key needs from a long ago. Uh, those features will only be applicable if you migrate or upgrade to 11.2. And having said that, Oracle has also released much information about what they are planning to do with the later releases of Hyperion application. So these are not something that are available right now in 11.2, but Oracle has them in their roadmap, which means that sooner or later they'll start to be included in the later releases of the application. So in future, you can look to use the Smart View feature of Excel formula editor, as well as sandbox support in Hyperion planning. Similarly, for HFM, there has been a lot of requests to have expanded dashboards and features around that. So that is also in the roadmap, and it will come through in the future releases. We've also listed down the other features of that are going to be released. We're going to share these slides with you, and therefore we are not planning to go down to each of them in detail. However, if you have any questions around these, feel free to put them in chat. We'll take them in the question and answer section. Uh, just a quick note on questions in chat. We're also running a quick survey. So you'll also see some of the survey questions coming out to you as we go through the webinar. So I would definitely encourage you to respond to them, and that will give us good insights about your requirements. Now, coming to the main question. So yes, Hyperion's version 11.1.2.4 or any version lesser than that comes to end of life by December 21. What options do we have? The first option is, let's say you say that what if I do nothing? What if I really don't want to do anything? I want to continue with the version that I have, and we'll work as business as usual. In that situation, what would happen is that yes, your business will work as usual. You would start to see compatibility issues with your operating systems, because with the support going out, there are going to be small issues or major issues around compatibility of SBase and planning, which you might not get enough or adequate support. The third one, which is the major one, is missing out on new functionalities. Hyperion as an application and product has evolved significantly, and I'm certain some of you may have taken a look at cloud or latest versions of the application. So there is a lot that Oracle has included, and you would be missing out on those new functionalities. Not that all the new functionalities would be important for you or would work for you, but some of them are quite good, and I've seen a lot of our customers taking a lot of benefit out of it. So that's one point that you would miss out on. The fourth one, which becomes a key decision point for a lot of organizations, is that you'll have a lot of cost on your hardware, because with this versions not having enough support from Oracle, you'll start to see that your hardware costs are increasing. You'll have to spend more to keep them up to date, or in line with the product's usage and stuff like that. There are other impacts as well. So, for example, the support would become very restricted, and Oracle would start to, not entertain some of the questions on various areas of the application. In our slide deck, we've included a link where Oracle has given clarity on, what would be supported and what would not be. So I would definitely encourage you that, if you're looking to go ahead with this option where, you wouldn't wish to take an action at this point, and you want to continue as business as usual, you can surely go to this link and look at the various aspects which might have impact for you. So that would be a good exercise to do to make sure that you don't face any challenges, let's say in the next couple of months, or when the support eventually stops in December 21. So that's your first option. We have taken a look at what would happen if you don't do anything, if you work business as usual. Now, what's the next option? Well, the next logical option is that with the versions not getting enough support from Oracle, the next option, or the immediate thing that we would have is that we can upgrade to 11.2, which is the latest version of the application. Now, when we do that, what are the aspects that are going to have impact on our business? First of all, in 11.2, Oracle has stopped supporting a lot of product features which had been available in 11.1.4 and any other version prior to that. Now, when I say Oracle has removed the features, that means that they're not stopping support for them. They're actually taking them off from the product. So you'll no longer be able to use them. I'll first explain Hyperion Financial Management. So if you're an organization that is using HFM right now, these are some of the things that you should take a note of. The first thing is that financial management analytics is going to be removed in the latest version of the application, and similarly the S-based analytics links that you have right now would also be taken off. Along with that, the quantitative management and reporting for solvency, which is a statutory need, that also goes away from Hyperion Financial Management. Now that's what is going away. I'll explain you what can be done if at all, these are some of the aspects that are very important for your process. Evosys can work with you, and we can help you in identifying what options you have if you want to migrate to 11.2, but still have some of these features. So we'll have to build some custom interfaces and stuff, but yeah, there are ways of still having some sort of a business as usual process on these aspects. However, yeah, please be mindful that with Oracle removing these from your latest version, there is a high chance that in the versions after 11.2, some of the other existing features may also be removed. Basically, just so this could be a heads up to say that this is the next thing that's being taken off, but there can be more in future. The next part is on Hyperion BI. So a lot of our customers, or people across the globe, they definitely use Hyperion with the BI. So some of the features that are being taken off is interactive reporting, production reporting, as well as web analysis, which is quite popular. So these are some of the things that will be taken off in 11.2. Moving to Hyperion planning, where there are bigger impacts of some major features being taken off. So to start with, I'll start off from these four. So basically, in 11.2, simplified user interface will be taken off. The out-of-the-box modules of workforce, capital expense, as well as project financial plan, they'll be removed from the new versions of 11.2. Crystal Ball, it's being removed, but it's basically being replaced by predictive planning, which is a feature that all of the cloud customers of planning and budgeting are using at this moment. So it will be replaced with predictive planning. And yeah, Hyperion Strategic Finance will also be taken off along with offline planning. So some of these features are quite major, as some of Hyperion users do use out-of-the-box workforce, capital, and project financing solutions. So yeah, these could be some of the major impacts of you moving to 11.2. And additionally, if you're a customer who, along with Hyperion Planning and Budgeting, if you've been using disclosure management, that also has been removed from the application. So if you're using care packages and data packages in disclosure management, you would have to think of a different solution and have those processes ongoing, as 11.2 would stop having them as a application feature. Similarly, there's no EPM mobile in 11.2. And with offline planning also being taken off, it kind of becomes a little bit tricky if you're an extensive user of those features in the application. So overall, these are some of the features that have been discontinued in 11.2. Now, talking about the impacts that you may see, basically what we have tried to do is we've shown you what is being taken off, but we also thought that there are benefits as well. So in this slide, we're simply going to show you what benefits you have. So I'll start with Hyperion Financial Management. In Hyperion Financial Management, I think the key benefit is that you'll now have automated consolidations. There's web-based metadata editor, which a lot of you may like, because it makes it easier to make modifications or changes to your metadata, which sometimes in HFM could be a onerous activity. The third point is archiving or deleting of unwanted data is also now enabled. So that is definitely something that you should look forward to if you plan to move to 11.2. The cons are that what we've observed is that 11.2 is simply a technical upgrade. We haven't seen any major benefits on top of these three that could significantly drive your appetite towards moving to 11.2 on Hyperion Financial Management. However, yeah, these are some of the pros. The cons is that it's not a major upgrade. You're not looking at a lot of new features, or it's not going to offer you a lot more than what it already does. So you can think of it in the perspective that it's simply a change of version with a handful of upgrades. Uh, Similarly, on the Hyperion planning and budgeting, if you're using that application right now, on 11.2, you'll start to see valid intersections, which is quite key. So, for example, if you have business scenarios where you want to restrict access based on combinations and stuff, on top of the security features of the application, you can surely use valid intersections. Smart push is a it's a good feature to have in 11.2. It's been around on cloud since a long time, so it's good to have that on 11.2 now. You now have extended attribute support, as I've said previously, and your dimension editor in SmartView has now got good extensions as well. So basically, these are some of the key features that enhances your user experience. These two, but yeah, these two are completely new. These would definitely add a lot of value to your business process if you have dependencies on valid intersections and smart push. Uh, the cons are, the first one is that your EPMA would be replaced by a limited use DRM. So that's quite a key one. Basically, with that, you simply have to look at a futuristic view and not an immediate need basis view. For example, if your EPMA has got a lot of dependencies, your dimensions are quite key built in that. You should look at the next 5 to 10 years in terms of your usage of the application or the product of Hyperion. Because with these features going off, maybe in future there are some other things that would be taken off. So when you're considering moving to 11.2, definitely take a look at the cons as well, because that will give you a clear idea on what would happen next or in the couple of years that are going to come. You're basically with 11.2, it's a mandatory upgrade to 19.c because 11.2 works only on 19.c base. So that's a mandatory upgrade that you'll have to do. There are cost impacts associated with it, and I'll discuss them in the next slide. But yes, you'll have to upgrade your airspace as well. The last one is no standard modules. As I highlighted in the previous slide, workforce, project, and all of these modules, which are out of the box available right now, they'll no longer be there in 11.2. So it's quite key to know that, if you're using out of the box modules as is, you will have to definitely look at your options to see that, how you can continue to do that, or at least have a similar process built in 11.2. Now, with that said, I'll explain you the considerations that you should take into your decision-making discussions. The first one is it's an out-of-place upgrade. So, you need to have new hardware, which means that, to be able to support S-Base 19C or, to be able to upgrade to 11.2, you would definitely have to upgrade, some of your hardwares. Not that, you would have to do all of them, but in some cases, hardware upgrades are, not done quite regularly and quite rightly so. But yes, you would have to consider some of that by looking at all of the technical capabilities of 11.2. You definitely would have to do an upgrade of your operating systems to Windows 2016 or 19. Some of you may already be on it, so you may not have any impacts due to this. But yes, if that's not the case at your organization, that is something that you'll have to consider if you decide to do 11.2 upgrade. The third one is the major one that we also had in the previous deck, which is your EPMA has to move to Classic or DRM. So the push from Oracle on this is that they would like to make Hyperion as closer to what the cloud does right now. And a couple of you may not know, or you may be aware that Oracle PBCS, which I'll explain a little bit later in our session, it simply runs on Classic. It's not on EPMA. So with this upgrade, you're moving your EPMA to either Classic or to DRM, and that's mandatory as similar to S-Base 19C upgrade. The fourth one is that you would still continue to have your maintenance or future upgrade costs. So the thing with Hyperion upgrades is that sooner or later a version definitely becomes older, starts to wear out, or show issues, or maybe your needs or organization requirements increase, which makes the product a little bit legacy and not in line with the requirements of the organization or business needs. So your organization's costs of maintenance and future upgrades, they remain around. You're not still getting the way out of it, and you'll also have to rely on some of those expenditures. Having said that, it's not that just by moving to cloud, all of those costs go away. You would still have to rely on a lot of infrastructure, but not as much as you have to do when you have Hyperion on premise. So these are some of the upgrade considerations that you can take while taking the decision on whether you want to move to 11.2. Now that brings us to the last option that we have. So in this scenario where if we are on 11.1.2.4 or any version lower than that, we really don't have a lot of options. We have just three options. The first one was to do nothing, and the second one was to upgrade to 11.2, which we've just discussed. And the third one is to migrate to EPM Cloud, which I'll explain to you in the next couple of slides. Now, in the third approach of migrating to EPM Cloud, I just wanted to start with showing some of the features of the product, because that will give you a good sense of how you can compare your decisions of not doing anything with the upgrade or moving to 11.2 or considering cloud. So with cloud, a lot of emphasis is happening on how the product is maintained by Oracle. So basically, the product gets updated monthly, and the key difference is that you don't have to pay for these updates. So basically, right now for Hyperion upgrades, you have to take services from people who know Hyperion or work with organizations like ourselves to have your Hyperion upgraded to the latest versions. However, with cloud, that all goes away. So you buy the product once, you pay the license fees, and that's it. The product gets updated every month, and all of the product features that are coming in the updates are available to you. So it's not a restricted update that says that if you've taken a certain kind of license, or if you're a certain user in a certain geography, you'll not get a certain update. It's not like that. So across the globe, Evosys does. Across the globe, Oracle does a monthly update of the product, and all of those features are readily available. So that's a very good feature to have, because you don't have to worry about your organization needs overpowering the application's capability in the longer run, because with a product getting updated every month, you're basically staying in line with the best in practice across the globe features of the product. The second thing is consistent growth of feature set. So what we have observed as an implementation partner is that in the past two to three odd years, Oracle has ramped up their feature set. So basically, the product is coming up with great upgrades each month. Some of the upgrades have been very, very appreciated by a lot of our customers, as well as across the globe. So to give you an example, validation rules, which I explained that is going to come into 11.2, has been around on cloud for more than 2 years. And a lot of users have quite extensively started to use that. Similarly, there are a lot of other features in the roadmap as well, which will make sure that your usage of the product gives you much more returns than you invest in it. The third benefit is start the implementation sooner. So basically, what happens is that when you do cloud implementations, your implementations can start quicker, or there is a good amount of flexibility, because you're not looking at a longer duration of implementation cycles. So with cloud implementations, since there's not a lot of dependency on infrastructure, the implementation timelines are quite crisp, and they can align with your organization's needs, and can work perfectly in terms of how you want to start the project or when you want to execute it. So the implementations can start sooner, and can get done quite quicker. The fourth benefit is easy migration across environments. So basically, right now, when you have to clone your solution, or take a snapshot, or move your application from production to test, or from UAT to dev, or amongst the environments, it's an activity that needs a bit of time, right? So I'm certain that on an average, you might be taking 2 days to 8 days to be doing those activities. And just putting in a high-level code, it rarely goes to 8 days, but yeah, in some cases, if the application is heavy, you might be taking that much amount of time to ensure that the migrations happen successfully. However, with cloud, that's not the case. It's hardly a couple of hours job because it's simply downloading a snapshot and uploading it onto another location. You don't have to follow the same steps that you were doing or are doing right now in Hyperion, having a sequence of artifacts, making sure that the artifacts go in a certain sequence, then checking a couple of things. It's not like that. It's very simple now. You simply download a snapshot and you upload it onto the new environment. So it definitely cuts down the amount of time you spend on it. And yeah, the biggest benefit is that you can access it from anywhere. So when we say anywhere, there are no geographical limitations. You can access the environments from anywhere. If you've gone on a business seminar and if you still want to be able to access the application, that is still possible. So there's no geographical limitations and stuff like that. On this one, I would also like to highlight that don't consider this point as a security hassle or a big security issue that everyone can access it from anywhere. Our data might be at risk and stuff like that. As I said, we are moving away from infrastructure, but there are still a lot of features that have come onto the cloud side. So having said that, you can access it from anywhere. There are a lot of conditions that Oracle has enabled where you can restrict the access of the application based on IP address, or you can just enable it to be accessed through your Office VPNs and stuff like that. So all the security features of Hyperion are still around in cloud. So even though it's a cloud application accessible from any browser, you still have ability to set up limitations to suit your organization's security needs. The sixth one is Oracle's surety, that it's highly secure environment. So on this one, we can, as an organization, we can vouch for what Oracle have done here. So with highly secure environment, what's happening is that Oracle has actually got multiple servers across the globe. So if you're a government organization where your data is highly secure, and you wouldn't want that data to be on a server with any other organizations, Oracle has got dedicated servers. Similarly, if you're in banking and financial industries where again data is quite secure, secret, and important, you have dedicated servers for those needs. So basically, Oracle has taken care of various organizations' needs and has got various options that they can offer you if you wish to move to cloud. So these are some of the key benefits that we've observed on cloud. And having worked in the Hyperion space for the last 10 years as an organization, we've worked with a lot of our customers who were in the same dilemma, not just this year, but in the past couple of years since when cloud has come on board. We have seen that from 2000 15 onwards, from where the cloud applications got released, we've seen a lot of our organizations using Hyperion applications coming to us and saying that hey, what should we do, and what are our options. So based on that information, we've put together some typical reasons that we've observed why our customers and some of the other larger customers have moved from Hyperion to cloud applications. The first one, in which the biggest contributor to that decision making, was the low cost of ownership. It's a very simple mechanism now. You just pay for licenses of the product per user basis per month, and that's it. That's the only expense, or that's the only money that you're spending on using Oracle Cloud. After that, you don't have to basically pay anything in terms of infrastructure or maintenance of the application or upgrades and support and stuff. Since it's Oracle Cloud, it's supported by Oracle. Your versions get updated automatically, which means that you're not paying for upgrades. The upgrades are happening automatically for you. So 30% of that decision making, or the weightage of cost, has been quite heavy. So a lot of people moved to cloud because they wanted to cut down a lot of their expenses. Then the next highest contributor was a lot of our I'm sorry, yeah, the next one was a lot of our customers were actually quite keen to avoid the on-premise upgrade. So they were basically quite tired of how they were working, and they were not quite keen on having this upgrade cycle, because what they were thinking was that, okay, we do it now, we spend a lot of money, a lot of activity, we take a lot of our business users hours to make sure that it goes well, and then in a couple of years, or probably even months, we'll again have to consider another upgrade. So a lot of organizations wanted to move away from the concept of upgrading their solutions. Then a lot of our customers were focusing on user friendliness. So I'm not sure if you've taken a look at the cloud application or not, but yeah, having said that, I'll share some more details at the end of this webinar. We are also going to do a second webinar in a continuation of this webinar, where we're planning to show you both the applications of 11.2 as well as Oracle Cloud. I'll share more details about it as we go through the webinar. But yes, the user friendliness and new functionalities of the product are very impressive. It's very easy to use. You're not looking at a lot of complicated training sessions where it needs to be explained how that works. Your existing users, your existing DBAs, security, network engineers, anyone you decide whom you decide to be the admins of the application, they can get on with the admin activities quite easily. And Evosys provides quite extensive training as well. But yeah, so the new features are quite easy to use. They're quite pleasing for the business users and easy to maintain for the admin users. After that, I think a lot of our customers, as well as what we've heard from our friends at Oracle, is that in most of the cases, the top management is pushing for a cloud strategy. So basically, the top management has taken these decisions where they are looking at doing a cloud transformation. However, they don't want to do a big, massive rollout and have the risk of a lot of things falling apart. So a lot of organizations have had management taking the decision that, okay, yeah, we want a cloud strategy. So in the longer run, we're looking at a 5 to 6 years plan where we're moving all of our applications to cloud. So let's start with something that's not quite heavy in terms of timeline as well as cost. So in those cases, upgrade to Hyperion definitely comes first. So if at all your organization or your management has also taken that decision, you can surely go back to them and mention that the first application that they can consider for migrating to cloud can definitely be Hyperion. It doesn't take a long time. The migrations can be like to like. Your same solution can be migrated. There are a lot of benefits, and it basically negates the risks as well. But yes, in 10% of the cases, it was the top management taking the decision to move to cloud strategy. The next benefit, as per percentages, was faster deployment. So as I said in the previous point, Hyperion 1.2 upgrade might take probably equal amount of time as compared to implementation of your Oracle Cloud application, unless your requirements are quite complicated. So the duration of cloud implementations are significantly lower as compared to Hyperion. So that also is quite a big benefit. The next one was keeping up with the technology. So a lot of organizations have observed that the best way of staying up to the mark with what's happening across the globe, or having a product that offers the latest features, is to move to cloud, because the way Oracle does the monthly upgrades, and since they are not charged, that's basically the best way of staying updated with respect to any new feature that comes in. So whatever Oracle has in their roadmap or is releasing, you're getting that. So maybe if some of the features you have right now, if they're not working for you with cloud, you're definitely on a roadmap where the application keeps getting better and better, adding more features to it and making it much more easier for you to carry on your business processes in it. The last feature was, a lot of our customers have also observed that moving to cloud gives them access to other EPM products. So when I say other EPM products, so basically on top of planning and budgeting, consolidations, costing, and profitability, Oracle Cloud also offers account reconciliation, which is also there on Hyperion. But yeah, with account reconciliation on cloud, you have both account reconciliation as well as transaction matching. Similarly, you also have an application for tax reporting to address any of your statutory tax needs. And then the biggest application that has found quite popularity on Oracle in the recent times is around narrative reporting. So narrative reporting now offers that you can combine data from all of your EPM applications and bring across narrative and have a workflow mechanism to create these reports. So there are some added products that you would get benefit of if you move to cloud. And with the current license structure of Oracle Cloud, you don't have to pay for those products if you want to use them, depending upon which license you choose. But yeah, 5% of our customers, had a very futuristic view where they said that immediate need is to move to cloud, and in the longer run, which is next 3 to 7 years, we plan to have a lot of the other EPM applications as well, because we find benefit in them. So that's the typical reasons of what we have observed on why people have moved to cloud. If any one of these resembles with you, or if multiple of them are in line with what your organization wants to do, feel free to let us know. You can definitely reach out and let us know how you feel about these options, and if you're in line, we can surely help you with some of them. The next thing that I wanted to clarify was that, what features are available in cloud and on-premise, because this will also give you much more clarity on how you want to take the decision of whether to move to cloud or remain on on-premise version and simply upgrade to 11.2. So this slide basically shows you the product features of HFM, which is Hyperion Financial Management, and it's comparing it with Oracle's cloud version of it, which is Financial Close and Consolidation. So basically, in the on-premise version of HFM that you may be using right now, you don't have features like dashboards, infolets, the close manager, ability to have supplemental data so that balance sheet data can be modified before consolidation is run. Data management you have to buy separately, like for example, you have to procure FDME licenses and stuff. And then intelligent process automations, the user-friendly navigation flows where you can have custom navigation flows by the process or by the entities, and yeah, also the benefit of out-of-the-box calculations. So some of these features, are quite important and quite useful. However, they're not available in HFM, and they're not available in 11.1.2 as well. The biggest thing is that it is all available in financial consolidation and close, which is on the cloud. So yeah, this could give you a clarity of what features are being missed out by continuing to use HFM. Some of these can be quite minimal for you. You may feel that yeah, we don't need them. We don't anyways have any usage of them. In such cases, you can surely stick to just upgrading to the next version and not moving to cloud. But yeah, if you feel that these could add value to your business processes, then you can surely consider moving to cloud. The next one was a comparison of your Hyperion planning application with EPM Cloud. So I'll just focus on the ones that are not available on-premise. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so the first one is that there's no seamless integration right now with your Oracle reporting solutions. You have to do some file-based integrations, which are then automated through various applications or automation tools and stuff like that. However, on cloud, it's all seamless integrations between all the EPM as well as Oracle Cloud applications. So it makes it quite easier for you to have all of the integrations, being seamless, and then you being able to track them quite easily. The same features of dashboards and infolets are still, only available on cloud. Cloud also offers you, ability to have standard KPIs and metrics so that, your CFOs or management can have easily built dashboards giving the latest information so that they can do a quick, comparison and do a quick round of decision making. Pre-built modules, as I mentioned, the new version also has stopped support for it. You will no longer have the manpower, capex projects and stuff like that. And on top of it, on cloud, you have additional modules. So on cloud, you definitely get all these 5. On top of that, you also have strategic modeling, which is quite key for long-term planning and stuff like that. On-premise, in comparison to cloud, definitely comes across as a little bit on the lower side in terms of user interactive interfaces. Cloud looks much easier to use, and it's quite simple in terms of how it looks and how a person can navigate through that. 9th is the biggest benefit. If you stay on-premise, you're again looking at some expenditure sooner or later down the line, maybe a year down or maybe longer. But yes, you will again have to upgrade because maybe Oracle would stop support of 11.2 sometime in the near future, as it has done right now for 11.1.2. The last feature is that overall TCO benefits. So on top of all of these benefits, there are a lot of other product-based features that have got usage or roadmap to be included into the cloud application. However, it's not sure if Oracle is planning or is wanting to include them in the later versions of your on-premise applications. So these are some of the benefits that you may have by migrating to cloud. Basically, what we have covered so far is that we have taken a look at what our options are. We had 3 options. I've tried to give you a good idea of what each of the option entails for yourselves, and how you can take a decision. With that said, I would like to open the session for question and answers. So you can put your questions on chat, and we can take from there. Kelvin, do you mind helping me by reading the questions?
Yeah, I'm here, and thanks for that. And hopefully that's given people a bit of an update on outlining the options that are available. Yeah, so a couple of questions, Arun. Is Essbase 19C mandatory for 11.2.3?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is. So 11.2 supports Essbase 19.c, so it's a mandatory upgrade of Essbase.
Okay, I think that question was from Agi. There's another one also from Agi. Is there a KB note, a knowledge base note available on the topic? I think from our perspective, obviously, we're happy enough to share the slides if people want to request those. I don't know if we've got anything else, Arun, have we?
We've got a couple of things. So what we'll do is Ajit will reach out to you separately, and we'll try to understand better with respect to what you're looking for over here, because we've got some materials that would help you in understanding the upgrade as well as comparing it with cloud if that's of interest. So we'll reach out to you separately and take that on.
Okie dokie. I'm very conscious of time here. Sorry, we are currently on 11.1.2.3. If we want to move to 11.2, would that be like a normal upgrade?
Unfortunately, no. I think with 11.1.2.3, what's going to happen is that you'll have to first migrate or upgrade to 11.1.2.4. So I think you'll have to do upgrade to 11.1.2.4, and then you'll have to move to 11.2. So you can only migrate to 11.2 if you're right now on 11.1.2.4. So it's a mandatory requirement. So if you're on any version lower than that, you'll have to upgrade first to 11.1.2.4 and then to 11.2.
Okie dokie. I think there's a separate follow-up from the Essbase 19C question. Again, it's from Agi, so perhaps we'll take that offline. Because I think Agi's saying that on the oracle.com it's not showing that it needs Essbase 19C. So what I suggest is we pick that up separately with Agi. Final question here is, our users are very comfortable with the current version of Hyperion and would like to have a similar user interface with the upgraded version or the move to cloud. They're just concerned that users may not like the cloud layout. What's your feedback and what have you seen on that?
Got it. Honestly speaking, with cloud, basically, even though I've mentioned that there are the cloud interface is different and stuff, it still has a similar way of accessing the application. So right now, if you're using your application by going through tasks, so if you're using tasks or task lists to access all of your forms and rules, that still remains. So on top of those normal user interface features, Oracle has introduced custom layouts and custom navigation screens and stuff. However, if your users are more comfortable with using task lists and going through the task list one by one, all those features are completely as is. All the features of notifications, deadlines, and timelines around tasks, they all remain the same on cloud. So you can have the same structure as well as the layout followed on cloud application, so that users are accessing all of them on cloud. There would be minor changes in terms of how the screen looks like, but yeah, you would definitely be able to have the same process flow and navigation flow that you use right now on cloud as well.
Brilliant, thanks, Arun. And that's obviously something that we could pick up on the next session that you've referred to. So perhaps if you can just flick forward just to the next slide. So thanks for doing that. And I think as we said all the way through, the idea of today's session really was to, at a fairly high level, outline some of the options available. I think as we all know, with these scenarios, it's not really a right and a wrong answer. And obviously what we'd be happy to do is discuss with you your particular situation, the options available to you, the size of the task, etc. Arun's mentioned a couple of times we are looking to do a follow-up to this session. So obviously today was very much around the options, and I think taking that last question around the look and feel, what we're intending to do is do a bit more detail on the actual product, how it works, how it looks, etc. And then talk about the approach to migrating to cloud, cost of ownership, everything you see on the screen there. And obviously what we'll include in that is a couple of customer success stories where we've gone through that and the next steps for yourself. So, on behalf of Arun, myself, and Evosys as a whole, I'd like to thank you for your time this morning. I hope you found it useful. any feedback, any comments, any suggestions, or any pleas for help, as it were, please do get in touch with us. Mine and Arun's emails are on the screen there, and obviously you've got the contacts from when we confirmed your attendance today. So final thing for me is to really just to thank you again for your time. I hope you found it interesting, and we look forward to welcoming you on our next one in a few weeks' time. On that, thanks Arun, thanks for your time, and thanks everybody.
Thank you everyone.